how do we improve our protagonist? Well, we still need a protagonist, of course, but as our scripts develop, we're going to pay much more attention to that protagonist, their qualities and their characteristics. Everything about the protagonist must now feed into the main story and the overall theme of the film. Let's look at a high concept idea and see how it affects our choices. In Liar Liar, the lead character's son makes a birthday wish that his father can't tell a lie for 24 hours. Now, if we had that idea, then we would need to decide who our protagonist should be. They could be anything at all. We are bound by nothing, but we're looking for something that ties into the story itself. What if they were an advertising executive? They're viewed by society as people who lie for a living. That could work. Maybe it's not linked primarily to their job, but the situation they're in at that moment. Maybe it's somebody hosting a family event, and they're usually the person who mediates by lying about their own and everyone else's true feelings. Or perhaps it's a witness in a trial, and the absolute truth would get a friend or family member convicted. Well, the writers of Liar Liar, Paul Gay and Stephen Mazur, chose a lawyer who does not live up to promises he makes to his son and who is currently in the middle of a big case. To do his job and get the partnership he craves, he must bend the truth to win. Therefore, his job and life situation are intrinsically linked to the dramatic event that starts the story. In Being John Malkovich by the extraordinary Charlie Kaufman, Craig Schwartz is an unemployed puppeteer who's forced to take a monotonous office job, only to find a secret door that allows him to go inside the mind of the actor John Malkovich and control him for a few hours before being spit out onto the side of the New Jersey Turnpike. Let's just go back and look at Craig's job. He's a puppeteer. The movie is all about control, both physically and emotionally. And so a man who controls puppets now controls John Malkovich, while other people control him. We should explain every choice we make about our protagonist's character and how it links to the story and theme. Second, we want to create a more detailed vision of this character. The more we know about them, the easier they are to write. Imagine you were writing a movie where the lead character was someone very close to you, such as your mother, spouse, or best friend. Let's say that they get arrested for something they didn't do. Now, you would find writing that person into that scenario quite easy, because you know that person very well, so you know how they would react. When the police turn up at your mother's door, you know whether she would be angry or upset, whether she would invite them in for coffee or start crying when they handcuff her, who she would call first and why. You could write it more easily because of how well you know her. We should know our protagonist just as well. If someone asks questions about them, we should answer relatively quickly and easily. Even if it's not something we've thought about, we should know our character and their world closely enough to come up with an answer that fits in a realistic way. Some books and teachers will argue that the way to do this is to build up a detailed character biography of our protagonist before we start writing. Personally, I find this very difficult to do. Sure, I can write down some biographical information about them, where they were born, who their parents were, etc., but it doesn't really feel like I'm getting to know them. It just feels that I'm making up information for the sake of it. I find it much easier and more productive to start writing and learn the character as I write them. By the time I finish my first draft, or sometime earlier, I really do know who they are. The goal of the rewrite, therefore, is to make changes based on the character that they've become. This is what can make that first rewrite quite extensive for me. This is one of those areas where there really is no right way to do something, we just need to find the way that works best for us. Anything is fine. What's important is that by the time we get to our sale draft, we can talk about our protagonist and the other major characters as if they're friends of ours. Go back and look at your protagonist. Do they have everything they need?